Cooking Crave, brought to you by ENG Lending, your area's #1 choice for home loans. 456loan.com.
Coming up on today's show, if you like chicken and dumplings, we got the recipe for you. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Rhonda Fitterer.
And I'm Laverne Dede.
And good friend of the family,
Yes.
Sharon Runcorn, has shared her slow cooker chicken and dumplings recipe with us.
Yes. She said it definitely is a family favorite of theirs.
So a tried and true recipe that is a favorite of ours as well. So get your pen and paper, write down these ingredients, and cook along with us. You're going to need 2 medium potatoes, 2 cups of carrots, 2 stalks of celery, 1 to 1.5 pounds of chicken breasts, 2 cans of cream of chicken soup, a can of chicken broth, a teaspoon of dried thyme, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper.
Yeah, not so much for that.
So we're just going to let the slow cooker do the work.
Right. And then we have the dough recipe on the bottom.
This is Mom's dumpling recipe. So
Oh, no, it's actually still Sharon's.
it's still Sharon's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, Sharon.
Okay.
So you're going to need 2 eggs, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cup of water, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and enough flour for a soft dough.
So we will just
So for all of those that like to follow a recipe and use to a T what you need to use, we'll try and measure that out today.
We will.
Because I'd be in that boat. Okay, for the rhubarb pie, this is your recipe, and I'm going to show the viewers this piece of paper, because this card, Mom used to type all of her recipes up on a typewriter that didn't have like the correction. You had to
And
type
it was manual.
It was manual that had the wing.
Long time ago.
So this is when she was first married, just a couple years ago. So rhubarb pie. You're going to need 4 cups of rhubarb, a teaspoon of vanilla, a cup of sweet cream, 3 tablespoons of flour, 3 egg yolks, a cup of sugar. And for the crust, you're going to need 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 1/4 cups of shortening, 1 egg, a tablespoon of vinegar, and 5 tablespoons of water.
Right. And that 5 tablespoons, I've measured it, equals about 1/3 cup. So,
All right.
yeah. And as you can see, this recipe calls for shortening, like what we used to render lard and all of this, shortening.
Yep.
You don't find that too much.
No, you don't.
Okay.
Not in today's cholesterol age.
Yeah, right.
Where are we going to get started?
Okay. Well, we're going to put our chicken in the crock pot here.
Okay.
And of course, because it goes, it says 7 to 8 hours on low, we're going to put that in and have that going, but we have that magic other crock pot, which is going to be ready to go. So we're going to have that
Sounds
ready.
good.
But, this is really very easy to put together. And I cut my vegetables, like I say, the 2 medium potatoes, 2 cups of carrots, 2 stalks of celery, is all that you're going to put in here right away.
Okay.
So we're going to put that on the bottom.
So we don't need to put any liquid with that right away.
Well, we will be putting some chicken broth in there. So
Okay.
now we're going to layer that with our cube chicken here.
So we're not cooking that right away.
No, that it's going to cook in the crock pot. That 7 to 8 hours on the slow cooker. So
Okay.
and it says chicken breasts, but people that like dark meat, hey, use dark meat. Whatever you like the best is, make it worthwhile. So make what your family likes.
Okay.
So we're going to add that chicken in there, and I'm going to just take a fork and just spread your chicken out over there. And I think I see there if that camera is picking this up. So what we're going to do next, because this is a clean bowl, we're going to we do 3 cups. We're going to do 2 cans of chicken.
Okay.
And actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bowl here to mix it up rather than this.
Okay.
Because sometimes we have seen me get away and it's all over, right?
You get a little carried away sometimes, Mom.
Okay. So we're gonna add that in here. We want to put it in here and mix it, with the pepper and the chicken broth, and I always say thyme. How do you?
I think it's time.
Thyme. Okay. Just like
a clock.
Okay. Sometimes I think I need to put that sound that H in there, and it doesn't sound right. So
If you're saying it wrong, let us know.
we're always open to any corrections or suggestions, right? And I did make my own chicken broth here, but it equals about a cup.
Okay.
When you're doing a can and stuff like this. So that's what you're going to want. And we're not adding extra salt, just for the fact that you have your cream of chicken that has salt, your broth has some salt, and that we don't need more salt and stuff. So it says about a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, but it's like, how can you ever just go with a 1/4? You need more
Well, you
pepper.
can always add it.
You can always add it. And it's then tablespoons of just dried thyme. We're going to put that in there. And then we're going to add the broth. So this is pretty easy to assemble in the morning. You're getting ready for your day if you're going to work, or just whatever you need, and that you come home and you're going to just have to make your dumplings, and you're going to have supper in short order.
Sure.
So we get that mixed. So it doesn't seem like a lot of ingredients there, especially being we have our vegetables all cut up and that. But so with that mixed, we're going to just pour that over here. And with the one that I've already got going, that's going to be ready for us to go, it's not a lot of liquid, but it's just a good amount of liquid. Mm-hmm. So when we make the dumplings, we're going to actually cook the dumplings, boil them in water first, cook them, and then we add it to the crock pot, to the chicken there.
Right away before it's cooked, or do you add them later?
When this is ready to go, when this is done, you want your chicken and vegetables cooked, and that's going to be ready to go because you're going to just add your dumplings, and you're going to have that in about maybe 15-20 minutes, just to kind of absorb some of the flavor.
Okay.
The dumplings with some of that. So
you don't cook it the full 7 to 8 hours right in
with
the crock
the
pot?
dumplings, no.
Okay.
No, that's something you're going to do later. So we're going to put that on here, and I'll just put this one on here, and we're going to go ahead and cook this, and let's see if we can get that. That's kind of a tight one here. It's her crock pot, so let's get that. Okay, there we go.
I think you got to do them both at the same time, Mom.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I don't have one quite that fancy, see?
It's not fancy.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to actually take this crock pot and I'm going to put it over here now and plug it in to have that going. And I'm going to have the one here that I have ready to go. We're going to bring it over here to show when we put our dumplings in and that. So, and that is boiling here.
Okay.
So I'm going to just rinse out this bowl, because this is the bowl I would like to use for my making my nafla. So.
Okay.
Person has your favorite pieces for certain things, so we'll just take that. And I've got my water boiling here, and I'm going to turn it down because it's really going to town.
Okay.
Okay. So we do start with the wet ingredients.
Okay.
And then, like Sharon says, you just add enough flour to make a soft dough.
So for people that are used to working with dough, you know what that means, but I'd be like a cup, 2 cups,
Well,
3 cups.
And another thing she actually had is for the water, she did make a cookbook and she had to measure her water, but she would say you take the bigger half of your egg and you fill that 5 times. So do you think that's an old way of measuring things is out of the eggshell?
Yes.
There.
I actually haven't seen you do that.
You know, that is one thing I haven't done here. So now I'm going to get a 3/4 cup water.
Because you can, I mean, eggs are different sizes, and you can crack an egg a lot of different ways.
That absolutely there. So now, and it says a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Get that mixed in there. And then a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And this is a little different because when I make my dumplings for Nefla soup, I don't use like baking powder in it at all.
Okay. So you're testing out her Nefla, is that what you're doing?
That's what I'm doing. That's
All right.
correct. So we just want to get that well blended. And then we'll just start adding our flour. But I know it's going to be well of a cup to start with, so I'm going to just get a cup here so that when you do write up the recipe, you're going to be able to pretty much make that pretty much accurate. I'm going to say it's going to be about 2 cups of flour, but... And you just, ooh,
Whoa.
my bowl isn't even big enough
carried
for
away.
you. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna let you do that.
Oh,
You know how it's supposed to feel.
right.
That looks too wet yet.
It definitely is. We just have one big wet dumpling in there. And so, like I said, I'm going to measure a cup, but I won't put that all in right away because we don't want to add liquid there to it. So, okay. Well, and I can see the 1.5 cups. It's going to be about right at 2 cups of flour.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident just putting that all in there.
So we don't want it to, so we want it to be dough, but we don't want it to be like a stiff dough.
Correct. We're not, going to knead it or anything like that like we do bread dough. And when we see this is really going to be, it's sticky, and that's kind of what you're wanting. Okay, get that mixed there. The only thing with using a wire whip, you get lots of dough in the whip. But yeah, we hit it too hard, we're going to have it on the ceiling. Or we'll be wearing it.
Both.
Yeah. Now one thing too, and I haven't done that, I usually just take my bowl that I have it in and make my dumplings from there. Which Sharon had a suggestion, and I'm actually going to try it. She puts hers out on a plate. She does, kind of spray it.
Okay.
So when you're then doing it, you can just do that into the kettle of water. So
Okay.
that it goes a little bit easier. Okay, I think I put that other spatula in the sink, so we want this here. And this is about the consistency that I usually have when I make my dumplings.
Okay. Now, does she have a different Nefla recipe Is this one different just because we're putting it in the crock pot, or this is just her Nafla recipe?
It's her Nafla recipe.
Okay.
And, you know, because you're putting it in the crock pot doesn't make a difference because you're actually putting it in the boiling water and you're cooking it. You know, you're going to make the dumplings there, so you don't have to worry about
Sure.
that. So we have, the water is boiling, and see, what's there? We just take it and put it little pieces in like that off your bowl or your plate.
Okay.
And you know, they're not uniform or they're not round. Doesn't have to be. But, you know, it is a little easier handling the plate versus trying to dig it out of the picture. So we're going to get that.
So you are saying you can teach old dogs new tricks?
Yeah, sometimes you can. So
Okay.
we'll just go ahead and get all this in, and we'll be back shortly when I have all that in, and then we're going to let it cook, them boil until they all float, you know, and usually it's about 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
And that, but I do this is kind of handy doing it this
So you
way.
haven't tried it yet?
I had not. And definitely with spraying it makes it come off a little bit easier. So, like I said, we never worry about uniform dumplings. It's not like, you know, having a firmer dough where you take it and then you roll it and you cut it and stuff. So,
Well, if they're uniform, you know it's bought.
yeah.
Stay ahead of the game with ENG Lending, North Dakota's #1 choice for home loans. Let Jay and his home loan specialist help you when it comes to purchasing your new home or refinancing your existing one. Make the smart choice. Call ENG Lending at 456-LOAN. That's 456-5626.
Call 456-LOAN right now.
Okay, now we're going to make our rhubarb pie. I already did mix up my pie crust because, you know, it's, as long as we have the correct ingredients when you're making pie crust, and if you don't want to make your own pie crust, buy it. But, you know, I do have the recipe, and I actually...
Do you use shortening still?
I did. I had somebody give me some shortening. And there is such a difference.
So it's not Crisco?
It's not Crisco.
So where do you get shortening?
I got it from a good friend. She watches our show very faithfully, and Katie Kukla
Okay.
from Killdeer, and they have a ranch and farm out there, and so they get their
So how do you make shortening?
shortening. You take the fat from the pig, and you render that until it melts, and then you strain that, and that's what you get. It was so nice, and it really, the dough was so much easier to work with because shortening is a little bit softer, and you actually get a flakier crust with shortening than even Crisco. So,
All right.
but like, and my recipe too is a little bit different because we said, you know, we use well, it's 3 cups flour, but I actually have a little bit of a baking powder in there, and the shortening and a little bit of vinegar.
Okay.
It's an old recipe, so.
So you have to have connections to get the shortening, though.
That's right.
Is it
You
called
can-
lard?
Yes.
Okay.
You can find lard in the grocery store.
Huh.
In cubes like butter. And
Okay.
it says lard. So, but anyway, so I did make that crust, and I rolled out the bottom here to put in here. And because it's going to take a little bit longer to make a pie, again, I made one last night. And like what I usually do is, you
She's
know.
fessing up now.
Yeah, I will fess up what I did because we thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to show all this, but I can't waste it. So
So hopefully all of our viewers can understand
to what I
appreciate
did.
what my mom is like.
Yeah, right. So last night when I was making the filling, it's a cup of cream, a cup of sugar, teaspoon of vanilla, and 3 egg yolks. So I'm putting all this together, but I'm doubling it right away because I'm making 2 pies. But I wasn't going to make 2 pies last night. So I have all this filling, and I look at my pie, and I thought, oh my.
So you could have made those 2 pies last night and then have a pie social.
Oh, okay. Then we could invite some of our viewers over first and made another one for rhubarb pie.
Right.
And this is rhubarb season, so this is good. So anyway, that's
So
what
we have fresh rhubarb?
fresh rhubarb. It's that season, so I have gotten some nice rhubarb. And for my pies, I guess I only do make the rhubarb pie in the spring or when I have fresh rhubarb, because when you freeze it, it gets watery, and then to me it's too much liquid.
Okay.
in that. And we've always liked a rhubarb pie with a custard, so that's why, the egg yolks and the cream and the sugar, it makes a custard.
Okay.
So anyway, so there's my wet ingredients that's all magically mixed up.
Okay.
And 4 cups of rhubarb, and that makes fills in a nice 9 or 10 inch pie plate. I think this one is a 10 inch.
Okay.
It's just the right amount. So we're gonna put that in here. So it almost took as much time to explain what I did, my screw up, as if I would have mixed it, right?
Well, I'm sure a lot of our viewers, cook just like you, and they know, just like Sharon's recipe, you add enough to know.
Yeah, you get that feel of it and stuff. So absolutely.
But see, people like me that need the 2 cups, or it needs to be this.
Right. Well, so it with the 4 cups rhubarb and that amount of cream and the egg yolks and stuff, it makes a nice custard. So we're gonna put that in there. And I have so often always think that more is better, and I've had pies run over in the oven too often or whatever. And I have found a little technique that really works well. Is
You
that
don't put as much in?
that would work too, but then I don't have as much in there. I want more in there. But when you have a glass pie plate or anything microwavable, I put it in the microwave for 10 minutes.
Okay.
And that sets it up, and so it doesn't run over.
Oh.
And actually, then I find that my bottom crust browns, nicer. So we're gonna roll this top.
So
crust.
definitely use it in a glass pie plate, though.
Right. It has to be
Microwavable.
Yes.
So where did you learn that trick?
It actually come from quite some time ago on Tupperware. Tupperware has a pie plate too that's microwavable, which I do have, and not too many old pieces that I don't have.
Right.
And so anything like that, and I really like doing it with apple pie, because sometimes your fresh apples take a little bit more baking, and that really helps that. So we're going to just fold that over here. And did I have my knife in there, or did I take it? So what I'm going to do is cut some slits in here. And that's just some air vents for that to come out. So now, I'm going to just put that over there. Okay. Now I'm just going to flute that, or just really pinch it tight so that, it seals the edges.
Okay.
I might have just a little bit of crust or dough that I will end up trimming.
See, that's the best part, because then you roll it out, put some cinnamon sugar on it, and you bake it with the pie.
That's what your dad always, isn't there any, well, we called it Sugekugel in German way back with that, and it is the best, isn't it?
See, but Dad usually got it.
Yeah. So, and then we're just going to, I'm going to brush that just with just a little bit of water. So then when I put my cinnamon and sugar on it, it just kind of sticks a little bit more. So now I'll just take that and just trim the edges.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be enough to do that, though.
No, not too much.
You were a
in
little
there.
stingy on this top crust,
Yeah.
Mom.
Well, yeah, I pretty much measured to know what I needed. But, you know, with that pie crust recipe, and I've done that quite often, is I double it. And then I just measure the amount that I'll need for one crust. And I freeze them. So then I don't have to
Sure.
get that getting here. I thought I had a little bowl here. So got to remember where I got them all. I rearranged my cupboards the other day.
You bored?
Well, you know, I was making room for
Oh, you bought some more
more stuff. So, yeah. So just want to make it just a little wet. And I got the oven on, I mean, we're going to at 375, and that 45 minutes, even with putting it in the microwave for that 10 was a nice amount. I mean, the crust got really brown and all that. So we'll be able to put this in the microwave, and then our Nefla should be ready.
Okay.
So we're going to put that in the microwave here. And I'm going to put it on for 10 minutes.
Can you bake a pie in the microwave if you just put it on there for longer?
It's not going to brown.
Okay.
Your crust isn't going to brown in that. And I think the only thing I forgot to say in that wet filling, we do put a couple of tablespoons of flour in there, just, you know, to set that up
Okay.
and stuff. So, you know, this is plenty here. So we're going to turn that off, and we're just going to take out the dumplings. They've all floated to top, and we've had that in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So we're going to just take it out and drain them. And like I said, they're not all uniform or whatever, but that doesn't make a difference, and it sure doesn't make the taste any different. And I can really see that these dumplings are light and fluffy. They're just that little bit of baking powder in there.
Okay.
You know, and it doesn't take much.
No, nothing
that
doesn't take long to.
No. Okay. Just about have that. Now I'm going to put that here to drain. I think I have one lonely one here. Okay. So we're going to come over here, and we're going to just we're going to add that. Let's set some of this thing aside here. On that. All right, so we can bring that here. So when we're looking, I think the viewers can see this, the liquid here and stuff. So it's not a lot of liquid, but there is, you know, some, and we're going to put the dumplings just right on top.
Okay.
Okay. So there, and I'm not going to, really mix that in. I'm going to just put it on top and just, because they're going to kind of work down, and it'll be, so we want to keep that in about 10 minutes or so just to get that flavor. You can keep it in a little longer if, it's not exact science that you have to keep it this any length of time. So
Okay.
we'll put the cover on there, and the pie will be about done, and we'll put that in the from the microwave into the oven, and we'll be able to get our other pie and feature that.
Sounds good.
Country Rose Cafe on East Villard is open for breakfast and lunch 7 days a week. Enjoy daily homemade specials, caramel and cinnamon rolls, several different kinds of homemade pies made fresh every day. Country Rose Cafe is also famous for homemade soup, including their ever-popular Nefla served every Tuesday. While you're in, make sure to pick up your Channel 18 Cooking Crave recipes and like us on Facebook for different specials and announcements. Country Rose Cafe, the way a cafe should be, located at 837 East Villard in Dickinson.
The oven went on, the microwave, the 10 minutes, so I'm going to take that out and we're going to pop that in the oven.
Okay.
And what I like to do though too is I like to put this on the edge just so that the edges don't get so too brown.
Okay.
And that because sometimes that dough is a little bit thinner. So we'll put that in the microwave and
The oven.
oh, the oven, that's correct. It'll still cook, but it'll brown, not bake, right?
Right.
Okay, now we're gonna come over here because we're gonna be able to feature our pie. We'll cut some pie here.
Okay.
And have our chicken and dumplings.
All right.
So, that.
And so when you're normally serving rhubarb pie, you don't serve it warm, do you? Not hot out of the oven.
Not hot out of the oven, but we do like it. I mean, if it can be just warm, that's great.
Okay.
And then have some vanilla ice cream on top of it. Oh, just the finishing touch there. So let me see how well I can get my pie crust out of here. Or a
That
piece of
first
pie.
piece is always a booger.
It is, when you can get that out nice in there. And we did pretty well. And as we can show our viewers there, that certainly, the crust, a nice filling, and it's baked nice and stuff, so we have that. And also, you know, just even showing, I have a little bit of here, and I'm going to show the viewers that, you know, that crust is very tender, flaky, and the bottom, you know, really browned very nicely.
Okay.
And that's the biggest thing sometimes with pies.
But they don't
is-
get soggy.
Right, the bottom gets soggy and the crust. And I'm finding that putting it in the microwave really helps. You're not going to do all pies that way, depending upon what kind you're making.
Mm-hmm.
But anything like that works really great.
So two secrets. Lard and the microwave.
Okay. All right. So we have our dumplings, and now or chicken and dumplings. When you see here, it's all mixed up. Those dumplings have absorbed some of the moisture too. There's not a lot of liquid, but it's certainly nice just to, it's a nice amount. It's not going to be dry. It's not runny or anything.
Kind of almost like a stew.
It is, but an awesome one. And we like lots of dumplings.
Yes.
Yes, so we'll just show our viewers here.
Well, you know, one day we're just going to have Sharon on the show because she supplies the recipes, you cook it, I talk it.
Yes, so we'll just
So one
have
day,
to-
you know, I might just say, you're the host, Sharon, and you and Mom just do your thing.
Okay, you know, that might be a plan.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go on vacation. To get these recipes, just go to Consolidated's website, consolidatednd.com. Please submit your recipes for us to cook for the entire viewing audience. Thank you again, Sharon, for submitting some of your awesome recipes. When you do submit your recipes, your name goes into the drawing for a Cooking Crave apron. Always nice to have. Thank you always to our viewers, and join us again on Cooking Crave when we do it all over again.
Stay ahead of the game with ENG Lending, North Dakota's #1 choice for home loans. Let Jay and his home loan specialist help you when it comes to purchasing your new home or refinancing your existing one. Make the smart choice. Call ENG Lending at 456-LOAN. That's 456-5626.
Call 456-LOAN right now.
Stay ahead of the game with ENG Lending, North Dakota's #1 choice for home loans. Let Jay and his home loan specialist help you when it comes to purchasing your new home or refinancing your existing one. Make the smart choice. Call ENG Lending at 456-LOAN. That's 456-5626.
Call 456-LOAN right now.